Hello, and welcome to From URL to IRL. I'm your host, Valerie, and today I have my friend Lisa from Stereotherapy, an amazing podcast about music and how it is therapeutic to listen to it and be around it. And so today we're going to talk about her life and how she got into being on a podcast and things like that. So, what were you like when you were a kid? Were you in band? Did you listen to a lot of music? Did you go to concerts?
So, when I was really little, I always loved music. I could never sing or play an instrument. I tried band for a little bit. I don't think I've ever said this before to anyone if they've asked, but I've been in school band and they had you pick or sign you the instrument. And I was like, oh, I want something like the clarinet or flute. That's what I want to do. No, they gave me the baritone, which is the baby tuba. And I remember coming home just so upset of why don't I get the pretty instrument or the cool instrument? They gave me this huge case and I was such a tiny kid. And I just remember, I think I was in band for 3 weeks. And then I was like, Mom, Dad, we got to go. I'm done with this. And I quit. And I remember my parents were so upset, but also it was not me. I hated how you had to blow in it. It just was not fun. And you stood in the back and it just, no. So I kind of gave up on that. I did chorus for a little bit, but again, I was not good at it. There was no pitching. I think it was just one of those things just to do, to have fun. But we wouldn't sing the songs I liked either, right? You're in chorus. So it's I got to get out of here. So that was the stint of any musical stuff. But then when I was a teenager, I found MTV, VH1, Behind the Music, all that stuff. TRL was huge.
Oh my God, I remember TRL.
Pure Volume, all that stuff, all those sites of finding, downloading music. And once I discovered the music, it was I want to go to concerts. And my parents were you can't, because you lived, at the time, I lived near Chicago. And some of the venues were in not so great areas. But it's funny because when I grew older, and I'm older going to these shows, I'm these areas aren't that bad. What were my parents talking about? They're not that bad. I'm going to all these shows with friends or by myself, as I got 19, 20, and older. But I would always from the time I was I would say 15, 16, I was going to shows. I had an older cousin that would take us. So it was cool. I could go with him because it was more acceptable. So we would do that. And then 15 on, it was concerts almost every week and getting involved in that. And then realizing not only the big bands, but my local scene was huge. I learned, oh my God, there's bands down the street that are playing in a basement and let's go do that. And that's honestly and not even a flex or anything, but bands the Academy is, because I was in Illinois. I saw them play at a Knights of Columbus. I saw Fall Out Boy play my mall. They played Fox Valley Mall. I think it's on YouTube somewhere. It's they played a Hollister in Aurora, Illinois. So, and I think it was 2005. It was under the cork tree, that era of Fall Out Boy. And so it's that time was just that's what I would do. Yeah, I was always in that musical space of that. And that led me, God, to going to Columbia College for art school to do music business management, which was short-lived because I was going to be in debt forever. But yeah, I mean, finding that music and then going to shows led me everywhere.
What was your first concert?
God, my very first one was Green Day and Blink, and it was the very first Pop Disaster tour. And it was at Tinley Park, Illinois, but it was the Tweeter Center, but now it's called, I forget what it's called now. I don't even know. And we were way in the back, but you could see they lit up everything. And it was just it was so cool, even though I could barely see them, just to be there and have that. And I want to say too, Saves the Day opened. I don't remember, but at the time I didn't even know who they were, right? I was just young, seeing Blink and Green Day. That's who I wanted to see. But that was the very first concert. And then I think it was a Warped Tour after that. But that was everything. Oh wow, you can go see these bands play and they play the songs you like. And oh, it was so cool.
I mean, that's a pretty iconic first concert, Green Day. I don't even I don't even think I've seen them, which is crazy because I've been to so many shows. So I started young. I was really lucky. My mom took me to my first concert when I was like 7 because I grew up in Houston and we have the Houston Rodeo. And so we would go every year to that. And so my first artist was Alan Jackson.
But that's so fitting for the first, yeah.
Yeah. But I was going to say, I went to my first show in Chicago, actually, recently. I saw Hayley Williams there at the Aragon Ballroom. Okay, I had heard some stuff about that place, about like the security and it not really being, like them being kind of aggressive. But I had an amazing experience. Like the security there was so nice. Also, that venue is so cool.
Right, like the ceilings and everything is so beautiful. It's so
and how
beautiful.
It looks like a castle. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I went to both of her shows there, and I would be sitting there like looking around, like while she was playing. I was just like looking up, and then the stage was so high I could also see up, like into like the inner workings of it. And oh my god, that was kind of creepy. I have a picture that I took, and you could see like the inside where the curtains are. But it was so cool. It was so cool.
So like such a beautiful venue. And I've heard that too about the security, but I've never had any issues when I would go to shows there. They were always kind to me from the door to even the people up at like Barricade were always so kind. Like I've never had an issue. So I have heard that, but I'm like, I've heard
it so many times.
Yeah, that place was always such a good place. And I was so glad she picked that kind of place for Chicago because the size of it and all the people that could attend it versus some really small place. So I was really glad for Chicago that they got like the Aragon instead of like, I don't know, the Metro or something there that's so tiny.
I think that might have been the place that they were talking about, that they were afraid that it was going to be at, because most of the venues, like I also saw her in Boston at the House of Blues. And that one is only like a 3,000 cap venue. But it was cool being able to see it too from the different points, because I saw her in Boston from like a balcony. And so I got to see from above. So I got to see everything. Whereas at the Aragon, I was barricade, but the stage is so tall, you can't see that far back.
Yeah.
That was my one complaint about that, was how tall the stage was. Like it was easily, like I'm like 5'7", and it's taller than I am.
My only gripe about that tour before, like, I'll get on a tangent about Hayley Williams again. But, like, my only gripe about her tour was the setup, because I saw her in New York City and where they were. I just think in general, because I heard this complaint from other people too, like when she would be at the piano, you couldn't really see because, like, the stages. And again, that's not a her thing. That's not a whatever. It's just the venue thing. But it's like, I couldn't, and it's all standing room. So it's not like people are moving. So if you were by people that were taller or that moved, you couldn't really see. And I think it just is like how the show was. But I was like, I really like during True Believer, I'm like, oh my God, I want to get a video, but like I can't see anything in this video.
And then she had those lights right there. So if you were barricade or even just close to the stage, those stupid lights would completely cover her. Mm-hmm. I got really lucky where I was. I was like right in between two of them. And so I have a video where you can see like, and all of a sudden she like looks right at me. It's like she looked and saw my face in between the two things. And that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, because that was the biggest gripe. Like,
yeah,
I want to see, especially during that song. Like a lot of people were complaining online, why don't we have any videos? And I'm like, it's because of the event. It's not. You couldn't see her. Yeah, I'm like, you can't. You could hear her during it. It was beautiful.
Yeah, but, unless you were up above. That's the only. That's the only way you could see her, is if you were up on one of the balconies.
Yeah.
But oh God, and are you going to go see her on the Hayley Williams show?
I want to. I'm so bummed that she's not coming to New York City, because she just was. So she's coming. I do love that she's coming at least to some different areas that like didn't get her. But I'm so bummed because as of now, I'm not going. And I loved Petals for Armor. I loved her other stuff. And I had tickets for the original tour that got canceled with COVID. And so I'm like, I want to hear I was so happy to hear this record in full that we heard. But I'm like, I want to hear like Crystal Clear. I want to hear like Dead Horse. I want to hear all these songs.
Excited. Yeah.
Like, I want to hear them. And I'm so bummed that, like, as of now, I'm not. But, because, like, upstate New York it's such a hike. It's like 5-6 hours.
It is.
I'm just like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. When the tour went on sale, I was living still in Massachusetts. So I had bought tickets because she is playing Forest Hills. But that venue is so weird. And the way
Everybody
it's like
says
in that
that.
neighborhood and it's surrounded by houses, I was like, no, I don't want to deal with that. So I had sold my ticket and then I wasn't going to go. And then I have a couple of friends that are also fans and they were like, we're going to go to Mansfield and we're going to go to Saratoga in upstate. And then, so I was like, okay. And then they're like, you should come. And I was like, huh, you don't got to tell me twice. So I looked at the prices of the tickets, and Mansfield is actually not that expensive. I think I got a ticket for like 180 for GA, and I don't remember if we ended up getting. They have a VIP package. I think we got the VIP, so you get early entry for that one, and then we're gonna go to Saratoga, and then she's gonna play in Guilford, New Hampshire. So we're just gonna make a little road trip out of it and go to all of them.
That's going to be amazing. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I need to see her. Just because
really
like,
do.
I love that show was so amazing. We got to see her at. And I think I'm like, these are just going to be special. And like, I want to hear those songs that we didn't get to hear. Like, I want to hear those. And like Simmer, like to hear that one. Like, I'm like, oh.
Have you seen the video of her from Newport?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, you need to watch them. She played Roses, Lotus, Violet, Iris. She played, I think, Find Me Here from, I can never remember if Find Me Here is from Petals or if it's from Flowers. And then she played Leave It Alone at Newport.
What? Maybe I did. I think I did see something about Roses. So maybe I did see at least Roses. And maybe I just was like, Dacus. Okay, whatever. That's, yes. So that's, I did see that. So,
that was so good.
God, yeah. And she's just, I love how Haley's just everywhere, like with everybody. Any with big person you can think of, she's with them. Like, she's cool with them. And I think that's really cool.
I love that too. So, first show was Green Day. What else did you listen to at that point in time?
Oh, wow. So if we go 15, 16, 17-ish, it was like Newfound Glory. And I know I'm not supposed to bring them up because I know what just happened in the news, but Good Charlotte. Listen, they were huge for me, Young and the Hopeless. Like, I know we're not supposed to bring them up.
Yeah.
I know what just happened in the news, but they were like a big part of that. And I was so into that. Like, Young and Hopeless was like everything.
It was a pretty good album at the time.
Right. Like now when you listen to it, it's like, okay, I don't know, but it doesn't hold up. But I was big into them. Alkaline Trio, Paramore, obviously. Dashboard Confessional. I was huge into Dashboard Confessional. Them, let's see, Alkaline Trio. I said that, like all the Chicago bands, Fall Out Boy, of course. Like they had to be because they were local and just they were just everywhere, and I loved them. But then like I would also like before that too, like into like all the new metal. Like I was big into Limp Bizkit. I was big into Korn. I was big into Deftones. Yes. I was big into like System of a Down. So like I was into that, and then like Thursday was huge. Like any post-hardcore band.
Yes.
Yeah, any of those bands you can think of that were like in that realm of what people call emo now or post-hardcore, like those were the main like bands. But like I said, I loved new metal too. I was so into new metal. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like Limp Bizkit is like, that was everything. And again, listening to the lyrics, should I as a woman? No. But like, there was just something about it that was like cool at that time being a teenager.
I remember when Fred Durst did that Behind Blue Eyes cover. Oh my God, I was obsessed with it. Because I was never really a Limp Bizkit fan. Like, I liked them, but hearing him sing on that song, like, dude, I remember I played it over and over and over again. I would record it. I would, the LimeWire and make my little CDs, and I made a CD with that song. Ugh. It was so good. And then I loved Dashboard Confessional too. Did you see any of the bands that you listed live? Have you seen Limp Bizkit live?
Oh my God. Yeah. So recently, I saw them. Was it about a year or 2 years ago? I can't remember. Maybe it was last year. I'm trying to remember where it was and what summer. Maybe it was it had to be last summer. But I went, and they had their tour, and I was so shocked because I'd never been able to see them. So I was like, I'm going on a whim because like I wasn't going to go. And then I just like the night before found these tickets and they were like reasonable. And I'm like, awesome. Because like the venue was an outdoor venue and it was like slopey. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go to this. But so we got decent tickets and they were so amazing. Like they opened and closed with break stuff. They were just so cool. And I think it was just at one point they brought like all these kids on stage, like to like dance and like it was just so cool. And they were so good live. Like you would not think they were as old as they are, like as a band. They sounded so good. Like I was like, I'm so glad I went. So yeah, no, I've seen Dashboard, I've seen Thursday.
I'm so jealous. I haven't seen Thursday.
I've seen so many. Like I'm trying to think of like the newer bands I definitely haven't seen. Like I've never seen like Hot Mulligan. I want to see them. I've not seen like Arm's Length is a big one people love.
Yes.
I love them too. And I'm like, I've never been just the tour, like being in New Jersey. They either go to New York City or Philly. And sometimes they're on a weeknight and it's like, do I really want to drive and go an hour and a half to this after work? No, I don't. So like I haven't seen some of these newer bands. Like a lot of the legacy bands I've definitely seen, but like it sucks because like these newer bands I want to see, I'm like they just don't come here all the time, which sucks.
That is true. That was kind of how I felt when I was living in Massachusetts because it was either I'd go to Boston or I'd go to New York. And Boston was an hour and 45 minutes, and New York I had to take a train, and that was a 4-hour train ride. Which, I mean, most of the time, I loved going to New York. I would go there whenever I could just to visit. So I didn't mind too much. Like, I saw this smaller artist that I love. Her name is Erin LeCount. I saw her in Brooklyn at Baby's All Right. That was super cool. That was my first time going to that venue. And that was like a bucket list venue. And then I saw Fletcher at Brooklyn Paramount in December. And that was also cool. Oh, my God. That venue was so pretty.
I've heard that venue is so. I haven't gotten to go yet, but I've heard that one is so beautiful too.
It really is. I had been to one in Seattle because I used to live in Seattle too. I saw Bright Eyes with my wife at Seattle Paramount, and that one was really cool too. But actually, the Brooklyn one was better. It was prettier, and I think it might be a little bit better kept. I don't know. They were both really super cool. Like I'm sitting there like there's stuff all over the ceiling in there too.
Yeah, that would be me too. Like just because I've heard of that of Brooklyn Paramount, and I'm like, oh,
you need to go.
I would just be staring up there doing that.
I did it all the time.
That's the only thing about going to Brooklyn though. For me, is like you take a train, and sometimes the last train, like at a Brooklyn show, you have to leave so much earlier to catch it. So it's like. That's the only gripe, and people are like, why do you hate Brooklyn? I'm like, I don't hate it. I love New York City. I love Brooklyn. I love being so close. But if it's a late show and it doesn't get out till a certain time, I got to hike it back to not only get out of Brooklyn, to get in New York City, to get on a train. Like, it's a bit of a hassle, but it's like, at the end of the day, if I had to leave for a couple songs, I have to leave. Like, it just is life. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. I have a friend that lives in New Jersey too, and when we went to go see Fletcher at Brooklyn, we took like a train to get to Brooklyn, then we had to take the train back to New Jersey, and then oh my God, it was like an hour long thing by the time we were done. So yeah, I remember leaving Fletcher. We didn't get home until like I don't know 1:00 in the morning, and it was on a weekday. It was like we saw her on a Wednesday and a Thursday. I think we had to Uber one of the nights because it was too late. Oh, it was Thursday night. We had to take a Uber because we stayed after the show because we knew she wasn't going to be playing for a long time. So we didn't leave there until like midnight. And I remember we had to take an Uber back because we were too late for the train. We made it the first night, but the second night we were too late.
So see, that's something like any friends listening to this they always gripe on me when they play Brooklyn, and I'm like, I will not go in a weeknight. I will not do it because of this. And like people get it, but like it's such a bum out when like bands and they're routing, and like I understand there's so much more into it, 100%. But it's like, oh, you don't know. Just come to Jersey. Just come here. It'll be so much easier.
I know.
For me.
There's so many venues there. Like there's so many options.
There's so many options. There's so many. But then again, I'm sure that's the problem of like during the time, if they're booking, if a lot of bands are playing, like for sure. But it's like, come on, you could play something. I don't know what, but like figure it out because, yeah, I have a problem with Brooklyn for that.
I get it. I get it. Especially after now that I've done it multiple times.
Yeah. So you get it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm safe here. I'm safe here to dog on it. But anyone that
Yeah.
lives in Brooklyn, I still love where you live. I love New York. Like, that's why I even wanted to come out here, was to be close to it. So, like, I get it. It's cool.
How long have you lived in New Jersey?
Oh my gosh. It'll be now, this is going to year 4.
Nice.
So it's really great. Like when I first moved here, I hated it because it wasn't home. It wasn't home.
Yeah,
I had
that's
no
true.
friends, no family. I left my job. I left my career. And it was just like, what did you do? And I didn't find my people yet. So once I found the music people and the people that put on shows and local people, then I was like, okay, this is home, because now I've met really cool people that think are into the same things, because I love my fiance, but like, you know, the women that would be, you know, with his friends, they were not into music. They wouldn't go to shows. They just weren't those people. So like, it was just like, all right, well, if I want to shop, this is great. If I want to go get my hair done, this is great. But like, I want to go music. So finding my people, finding the venues I loved, and just honestly, just being brave enough to go by myself led me to meet the coolest people that like I love so much, and that made me love New Jersey. Cause like now I love it. But like the first year I wanted to leave. I was like, I can't do this. I was so depressed. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this. So like I inspire like anybody that would like to ever do it. If it's really, really hard, just stick it out. Stick it out if you can, because I understand financially too, it's tough, right? I had no idea, like, until I moved, and I was like, oh my God. But oh gosh, now it's like thundering. But like for me, it just is like, if you can just find your people, stick it out for if you can, it'll be so much better. I'm still like, I said this to a friend the other day. We were like talking about it. And it was like, everything I went through this first 2 years that were like so hard, so difficult, I would go through it all over again, just because I know where I am now and how like I couldn't picture myself anywhere else. So like I would go through all that just because I knew you're going to be okay and you're going to love it. And it's going to be exactly where you need to be, especially with this music stuff I'm doing now. Like, you don't want to be anywhere else. You're cool. Like, just stick it out, relax.
I love that. And I mean, that's the whole reason why I made this podcast, is because of community, especially the community that you can find when you're a fan of music. Like, I was an awkward kid. Like, I didn't realize at the time, I didn't know that I was neurodivergent. But now that I know, it makes so much sense, because I cannot make friends in person unless I'm talking or doing something with my specific special interests. So like concerts, I made all my friends around artists that I loved. Like, that has been monumental in helping me to form relationships. And like some of them I met when I was 13 years old, and I'm still friends with them. I still talk to them. I'm still friends with them on Facebook. And then like especially Paramore has been a really big, because I have met so many amazing people over the years through Paramore, and I am so grateful that I became a fan of theirs, because like with me going to see her, you know, me going to see Haley in September, it's going to be so much fun. There's 5 of us. We're going to be staying in a hotel together. We're going to be renting a car together. We're going to be driving to all these shows and camping and doing everything. And it's so much fun. And it's so cool meeting all these people. Like one of the girls that I'm going with, she's from Germany. So like I'm meeting people from all over the place too. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, no, I can so relate to that too. Like, yeah, growing up, I did not know like that I had like ADHD or things like this. A lot of these traits where I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see that now at 15, 16, 17. And like, I'm like you, like put me in the middle of a table of like, you know, just normal people my age. I hate saying like I'm not normal, but like normal people my age, they're talking about their careers. They're talking about their kids. They're talking about just whatever like thing. And like me, I'm like, man, did you hear this new record? Like this record came out, or do you like this show's going on, or oh, my podcast guest. Oh my God, I got so and so, and they're my bucket list, and there's crickets. So it's like I've always found that like it was always just awkward because I didn't fit into those places. I tried But again, find people that like music, and it's like, that's it. We're cool. We're like, we have that common ground. And like, I think of so many people I've met that like we would just go to shows like you're doing, like with Paramore. It's like those communities are so special. Like, I think they're so special. And I know sometimes like online it can get toxic, but like there are really great people in those communities as well. And I think sometimes people like to highlight the bad stuff versus like what you can get out of it. I credit that, like Fall Out Boy was one with the community back then. If I didn't have that community back then, all those people I met and just the street team and just the people that would line up all the time like me. And there's people I've known for like 20 years that I met in line at a show, and like we're still friends because of Fall Out Boy. So I think that's really like just really, really cool how that, like, whatever community you're in, you can probably definitely relate to what we're saying. Like if you're listening or watching this, because it's like whatever band it is, there's a community there. So I think it's really, really beautiful.
It really is. And then it branches out like over the years because, you know, like I said, I'm not good at in-person things, but like for instance, I just started a new job when I moved out here to LA, and I went to a training yesterday with other people that do my job, and I was sitting there and I noticed a tattoo that one of my coworkers had, and I said something about it to him later, and we ended up, after we left the training, talking for like 2 hours in the parking garage because we started talking about all the music that we love. So it started to like, you know, kind of branch out into other parts of my life over the years, and it's helped me form relationships at work because I'll be talking to somebody and I'll hear something that I know and that I like, and it becomes a whole different thing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, definitely relate to that. Like there's been times I'll be a yapper and like my fiance is like, Lisa, we got to go. And I'll meet someone new and they're like, I didn't know they liked a band or music.
Yes.
So I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, I love it. Music is just so good for that. I had another question that I thought of and I forgot it now. What were we talking about? What's your favorite like albums right now?
Oh my gosh.
Like maybe like your top 2 or 3
right now. Oh God, because I'm like, what was I just listening to? My top albums, like for sure so far this year, because I know I made a list. The Joyce Manor, like used to go to this bar that came out, and I know it came out in January, but that's definitely going to be on my album of the year list because it is just so good. And I liked Joyce Manor, but I never was like huge until this record. So like that one, and just again, maybe it's, I don't know, the neurodivergent as well in me, but like last year was God Save the Gun, Military Gun. I still have that on loop and listen to that all the time. It's 2026, but I still listen to it. And then recently, I really liked, I mean, I know it came out today, but like The New Citizen is so good. And I know that's going to be an album of the year. So I'm like, I should just say it now. So whenever this comes out, it'll be like, yeah, like Citizen, because it might be out for a little bit, but it's just so good. Like listening to that is just like, oh, I'm like, now I got to think, like now I'm on the spot of like, what have I been listening to this year? I know Joyce Manor was huge. Riley, they put out like an EP, Riley. They're really, really good. And they're like of the new like emo-ish band. And I fell in love with them. And admittedly, again, I was not huge into them. I've heard of them, but like this EP was like,
game changer.
This is really, really good. This is really, really good. I love it. And I think they're going to be like one of those heavy hitters, like to come, like when people talk, like especially like the younger, I hate saying younger kids, but like younger kids like seem to love
weird?
Riley. It's like, so I would say those, or like drawing such a, and of course I cannot like, why am I drawing like Sincere Engineer, Probable Clause.
Ooh, yes.
Like I love them, and their record I feel like isn't getting enough love this year, and I think it's so good. And like I love Sincere Engineer. Maybe it's the Chicago in me, but like they're great. And like I just had another one that popped in my head as I said that too. I'm like, but I'm blanking on these records. Oh my God.
That's okay.
Yeah.
you got a good list so far.
Those for sure are like this year that I'm really, and then Basement put out a record too that a lot of people slept on too, because I think, I don't know, like, I'm like, I thought it was really great. So like those would be the heavy hitters. And then there's like so much like good stuff coming out to come. Like Movements has a new one coming out.
I did hear about that one.
It's like there's so many cool records that are still like we're only in August.
This year has been iconic with new music. Like so much. I can't even keep track of all the albums that have been coming out. It's amazing. It's an awesome problem to have. But it's like, it kind of sucks though, because then I get, like, I'm still on Noah Khan from when his album came out. But now, like, I'm not a big Charlie XCX fan, but I've been trying to get into her. And she just had a new album come out a couple days ago. And I haven't even gotten to listen to it yet because I'm still so into... No, I was just listening to it before we started. I'm going to see him at the Rose Bowl next weekend, and I'm so excited.
He's another one. His record is so good too. Like that's another one that's like. And I wasn't admittedly like a huge fan of his. Like I appreciated him, respected him, but I sat down and listened to this record, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it
so
now.
Good.
I get it now, what people are saying. And the thing, too, he was saying he was so nervous about it, like if it was good enough or whatever. Yeah. And I'm just like,
that's who he is,
your best
though.
Work. This is like your best work. Like, this is amazing.
It really is.
But then I know that's how I am, too, with my work. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like, and then it doesn't. But, like, it's like, so I'm not Noah Khan, but, like, I can relate to him in that way, like being hard on yourself.
Same. Are you a Capricorn too? Or do you have any Earth placements?
No, I'm an Aquarius.
Oh my gosh, so is my wife. When's your birthday?
February 10th.
Oh, her birthday's on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I was supposed to be a Valentine's baby, but I came early. That's what my mom said. She's like, you were going to be a Valentine's baby, but you decided to come into the world early. So I'm like, okay. Cool.
She was supposed to be born in April. She came really early.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she was really early, like over a month early. Like, that was crazy. She was so cute, though. She was so little. But anyways, my thing this year is I've been really trying to get into more, like, female-fronted bands. So I've been really into Honey Revenge. Mm-hmm. They're so cute, and they remind me a lot of young Paramore.
Yes.
And they're from LA, so I'm actually hoping to go see them, I think in November. And then there's this group, Florence Road. Oh, my gosh.
I don't think I've heard.
They're from, I want to say, the UK. They're supposed to be coming here, and they're playing, I think, the Troubadour next month, and I'm so excited to go see them. They're, like, kind of a little bit like a mixture of, like, Paramore and almost kind of, like, Evanescence. Like, they're not really punk or emo, but they're not really rock. I don't know, they're kind of hard to describe, but I love them. And then I was listening to, what was it? It's Daisy something.
Oh, Daisy Grenade?
Maybe. I think so. That sounds... Hold on.
I think are they two women?
Yes.
It's got to be. I think it's got to be Daisy Grenade, which
Yes, it's Daisy Grenade. Yes, that's it. That's it, for sure.
So, that I love about them is, at first, I wasn't sure the music at first. But I literally was like, I really appreciate that what they stand for. They always stand up for women and just everybody and like everybody as a whole. And I just love anyone that's marginalized, they're like speaking up on. And then like they're also, I love when they speak on that because they're a band that, like it could hurt them by speaking up, and people could look. And I love that they do it anyway. So I have so much respect for them.
Yes, I just found them. I was watching TikTok and it was a whole video about female-fronted bands that are starting to like make their way up. And that's when I started listening to them. I really liked Emily and then How to Hide a Body.
Mm-hmm. Yes, How to Hide a Body was like, that was like my intro to them.
Yes.
Because I was like, okay, like, because some people were like, oh, I forget what the other song was. That some people were like, oh, I can't think of it. But that when I heard How to Hide a Body, I was like, okay. And then like combined with like how they are and just their honesty too about like women and like on like their honesty too about how they have real like 9-to-5 day jobs and then they work. They don't have. Like I just love their honesty. They're just so cool.
I agree, and I like that they're based out of New York. Oh, they're on Fueled by Ramen. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either. I knew
that's super cool.
I thought they were just on Pete Wentz's label, but maybe
they toured with Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
So it looks like so they were produced by Pete. I'm reading a little thing about them on Apple Music.
Because I'm like, I know that Pete Wentz was involved in this.
He produced two of their EPs. So
that makes makes sense. And their sound, like, not to be like, but like I could see that
the influence
there for sure.
Yep. That's how it is so with cool. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, you're good. Like that was so cool, like, about that.
I can hear the influence of Paramore with Honey Revenge so much. And her writing style, Devin, the lead singer, love her. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. There's a her song. Style, everything. Yes. Style, everything. Just
her hair.
She is so cool.
I agree. Like, effortlessly cool. And then her bandmate, I cannot remember what their name is. Let me see.
I can't either. I can see their face. I can see their face. I'm like, I can't think of it.
And they're so cool too. I'm trying to like look up the information about the band on Apple Music. But there's a song, it's called Habitual.
Yes.
And the line, so habitual, you're a little bitch, Oh my God. That was so clever. The first time I heard it, I was like, okay, Devin, I see you. Like that was pretty good.
So good. Like, yeah, no, that was like one of my first introduction to them. And I was like, yeah, all right, I love this. I love the way it sounds. I love like just their little shtick of it. Like, I just love it so much. And like Airhead too, where like she's, I love it so much.
I agree. Like, it's so good. And then, I saw you had Lolo on your show. She's not a band, but I really like her. Gibby, who I know that's the one who introduced us. He showed me Lolo. And I really like her.
She's so cool. Like, I got approached by her team. They were putting together like a bunch of media days, and they had a couple of different podcasts, and they asked me. And at first I like wasn't sure, just because she is a little out of my realm. But I was like, let me take a listen, because I know the name. Let me take a listen. Oh, I really, really like this. Okay. All right. I get who she is. And she was so nice. The only bummer was like we only got 30 minutes because sometimes in those media days, that's how it goes. But I was kind of like, I wish I would have gotten a little more time, because we could have dug into more than just strictly business about the record. Like, I would have liked to, like, I don't know, geek out about Simple Plan or like cool things that like I see her do. That was the only bum out, but like loved her, and she was so nice and so kind over Zoom. And I love to see like she's getting so many opportunities too. Like she's just so cool.
I feel like I just saw her. Was she on? It wasn't Lollapalooza. There was something that she just played recently.
I think it was Warped Tour.
Yes, that's what it was. Warped Tour.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so amazing for her.
Oh, yeah. And especially like she wanted to do it. Like, it was one of her things. And then like she got picked to do it. I think that's so cool. And I see a lot of younger girls like her too, which is really cool, because like they need people like, again, like Devin from Honey Revenge. They need Daisy Grenade. They need Lolos. They need like all these people.
We do.
Like all these other women to kind of light the path for them, like Haley did for us. And
agreed.
Like, I think that's really cool.
That's one of the things I love so much about her, is how much. Oh, have you heard of the Linda Lindas?
Yes.
I love them too. I actually got to see them. So they're from LA too. And they did a little free show a couple weeks ago for the 100th anniversary of one of the libraries here.
Wow.
It was super cool. It was only like I want to say maybe like 200 cap venue, because it was just an auditorium in the library. It was so cool. It was like a little festival, and they played their new song that they did. I think it's Closer, that they did with Haley. Obviously, she wasn't there.
I was just gonna say, was she there? But
no.
Like, how could she? Yeah.
Oh. No, but it was still cute. It was a good show. They're adorable. Oh my God. The drummer, I think her name is Lucia. I can't remember. There's two sisters, and I get them mixed up all the time. But she's adorable. She's got like her little braces. She's only like 15.
That's right. They are so young. I forget how young they are. Like,
yes, they're so cool. Cute.
Yeah. Then I'm like, man, if I like, whenever I have kids, I'm like, I want them to be cool like that. Like, just do something cool. Go to school rock. Go start, like, learn this. Go do this. I want you to be involved in music somehow. Not force you, but like open your mind to it and like see that's really cool.
Thankfully, I think that they'll kind of follow your lead. I know, like with me, even though my parents weren't super into music, like the kind of music they liked was this music I started listening to as a kid, and then I kind of branched off. But if I hadn't been able to, like, for instance, go to the shows that I went to as a little kid at the rodeo, that really helps kind of form my love of music. And both my brother and I are huge music fans. Like, he was in a band at really young. Like, he started his band when he was like 14, and they did decently. Like, they did a couple of little tours around Texas, and they played a bunch of like the local venues. And then clearly, you know, one of them ended up being the merch guy for an artist that I love, Lawrence Anderson. Looking at you.
Right? Speak it into existence. I always say that.
Yeah. So we're both super into music. He played the bass in his band, and he plays guitar, and he does a little bit of singing. And now, like, his kids, he's got 4 boys. All of them love to sit out there in the garage with him while he plays his guitar, and it's so cool seeing it, the new generation come up.
I love that. I like, because that, like, you always wonder, like, this new generation, but that's what I think is so cool about, like, this resurgence and this cool stuff we're seeing, is because these younger kids are discovering bands.
Yes.
And I think it's really, really cool to see that.
I love it. Like, with Warped Tour coming back, and like Alexis on Fire playing, and, you know, 303 playing again. Like, I went to the last Warped Tour that they played in 2009, and I saw Alexis on Fire there too. I'm a huge Dallas Green fan. Like,
oh, same.
Huge. When Haley brought him out in Toronto, I was like, are you kidding me? It was the day before my Boston show. And I'm a huge Dallas Green fan. I've seen him. I can't even keep track of how many times I've seen him anymore. Cause I've been a fan since, I don't know, 2005, 2006, when he started in AOF. So, and then my first time seeing him solo was, I think, 2010. And I've been to pretty much every tour he's done since.
I think that's about right, that 2000, because I think that was the first, 2009 through 2010 was the first time I saw him solo too. Because I love him so much too. And like, I have a photo of like an old Warped Tour I met him at, and
I'm
he
so
was like,
jealous.
so nice and so kind. And like, I love the City and Color stuff, but I'm really glad that like Alexis on Fire is doing stuff.
Me
because
too.
I'm like, I love that they're him together with them. I love his stuff, but it's like, I love that.
It's just next level. Like, it really is.
So good. And they're not talked about enough. Like,
No, they really are not. They really are not.
So good.
So I'm really picky about the male artists that I like. Noah Kahan and Dallas are really pretty much my only male artists. And 2 of the reasons why I love them so much is because they're so secure in their masculinity. Like, I love that Dallas regularly posts pictures of him kissing his bandmates, because they've been friends for so long, and they're all so comfortable with themselves that they do not give a shit about posting things like that and showing affection to each other. And I love that. Love it. And that made me love him the first time he posted a picture of that 10 times more.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Yeah. Like, I thought that was so cool to see that. And also, like, they're very like outspoken when they come into the States.
Yes.
About like how the States.
Yes.
Like, I remember I saw them at a Riot Fest before I moved to New Jersey. And it was just as, I mean, I'm not going to get into like who our president is, but I'm not even going to say his name.
Oh, we can talk about it. I don't care.
But like, it was right before he won. And literally they said, oh, are you guys going to do this? You're not going to do that, are you? And then like the next year this guy wins. And I was just like, I'll see Alexis on Fire if you didn't say anything, if you didn't speak that into existence. But
I know.
Like, no, it's not their fault. But I just thought it was interesting, like, that they're not afraid to like be honest about their take from the outside looking in on how we do things or how things are done here. And I love that. I love that they're not afraid to do that. So yeah, they're just stand up. Like,
they really are. They're just great. And we need more men too to speak up about this kind of stuff as well, in a way that is not just, you know, a man's way of thinking. Like, Dallas is very good. Like, he does what he does because of the women in his life that he cares about. And that's what I love about Noah Kahan too. He's the same way. Like, he talks about, because he's got, you know, his wife, his sister, his mom. His mom is queer. She's married to a woman. So things like that are more important to him because he experiences it in his everyday life. And it's just nice seeing men that are not afraid to.
Yeah, and especially on the bigger stages too, like on all stages, but it is like because people are watching them. And I think, because I think as a whole in the industry and just in general, we need more men to back women up, because like I've seen stuff and I've experienced things where, and even I'll say it, so some women go along with the men because they want to get to a higher thing sometimes. And I've dealt with that in this industry of thinking that some people would have my back and they did not. And they went along with what the man was saying or doing and male centered. And it's like, I've experienced that part of it too. And I think I've always respected whenever I've like popped off about like the industry on like my page or anything, like I've loved that like the support I've gotten from some of the men. And I've always been like, okay, so we're not all screwed. The world's not all shit. Because there are some men that will have women's back and support. And I appreciate that so much. Like men of anywhere, like just call it out. And, women too, like at the end of the day, like call it out too and help if you notice like there's a woman that is struggling with something or being, like at the hands of a guy that is trying to take advantage of her. And I'm not even talking like sexually. I'm saying like just in the business world, And anyways, like, don't think that you're better off by siding with the men because they're going to do it to you. Like maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but they will. And again, there's so many good guys, but there's also like, so whenever I see a guy like just speak up for women and have their back, it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
We're finally like, okay, we're not all shit.
We're not totally screwed, especially white men too. And that's another thing that I love about Noah and Dallas is that they're white men that are doing this because they are, the pinnacle of perfection in America's eyes. And especially being rich white men, that just makes it even more amazing that they use their platform for the good that they do.
Oh, 1,000%. Like that's so important. So we need listening more of that. We need more of that. Follow their lead. If they can do it, you can do it.
Yes. Okay. So we veered off a little bit.
We veered off for sure.
So when did you kind of start having the idea that you wanted to start a podcast?
So there was a big break. So like before I did the podcast, I did like music blog writing and all that. But I was a horrible writer and a horrible way. Like I couldn't, when I would have a question or like when I would publish the interview, I didn't have a way with those words. Like, I could copy and paste what we said. And then I took a break, honestly, much like we were just talking about. I was like really upset with the industry, the way it was going. Also, just like the cutthroatness of the industry. I didn't want to have to be something just to get ahead. I didn't like it. I didn't like the cover-ups of certain things in the industry. So I kind of was like, I'm done. I don't love this anymore. So then I took like a 2-year gap. And then finally it was around COVID that I was like, you know what? Like everybody is doing podcasts, but like now everybody is much more. Even then, like it's wild to think about even back then. But like, I was like, I think I can do that. Like, I think I can do that. And also it came from watching, and this is so horrible. I'm not like digging on anyone, but like not so good interviews with my favorite bands. And what I mean by that is like, they wouldn't know, their new music or their even names, or you could tell they didn't know them. And watching people have opportunities that I'm like.
And squander them.
Damn, yes. Like you're sitting by this person and like you have such an opportunity. And I would be like, okay, I want to do this. Let me try this. And then, so it's 2021-ish, end of 2021-ish, beginning of 2022, like post-COVID, I finally started it, got it. Bad first run, don't need to go into that. But then we rebounded and I started it in 2023. Okay. And then it really took off because I knew what I was doing. And it shifted from like, what do I want from this? In the beginning, it honestly was like, I'm going to talk to all my favorite bands. That's what I'm going to do. And then I shifted to, man, I can give platforms to like deserving artists that some people say no to. So let's focus on that because that's what I've always loved to do. So it really was like, wow, that's what I love to do. And yes, do I still get some of those bucket lists? Of course, I still end up doing that. But my favorite conversations sometimes are those maybe 600 followers or 1,000, whatever they are on Instagram. And it's a smaller band. And then they thank me because like they'll be like, thank you for using this or having this platform for us smaller bands, because a lot of times we do get overlooked for our follower count and things like that. And I'm like, okay, like I'm supposed to be doing this. There's a need for this. So this is really cool. And then also, I just also wanted to be a woman doing it. There were a lot of dudes with microphones, and I said,
too many.
all right, let's get a woman and like a solo woman, right? Because I think there's a difference, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but there's a difference when you're a podcast that is a woman and a man hosting it. And then there's a difference between people look at that and then they look at just a woman hosting it. So there's a big difference. And I always like, that's why I love when I get like a heavier band that I'm just like, yeah, and I'm a woman. Like, let's like, I got this heavy ass band on this podcast and I'm a woman, and then they respect me and I respect them. And it's just cool to have moments like that. But it was just out of stuff like that, of like seeing a need for it. And then, yeah, just wanting to be a woman and saying like, we can do it too, and inspire other women. Like I wanted other women and young girls to be like, oh, maybe I can do that. Why not? Like if they're doing it, I can. And maybe I don't need a guy to be my co-host. I can do it on my own. So that's what I was hoping for.
I love that so much. And that honestly, like when I love Gibby, like he is such a cool dude. And then he was the one who showed me your podcast, and I was like, ugh, because it's been so hard to find other women that do a music podcast. It's all men. And even most of my guests have ended up being men. The only other woman that I've had on my show is my best friend because it's all men.
And that's the thing too. Like a lot of people get on me too, because I do have a lot of men too on my show. But the thing is, it's just like, I'll reach out to everybody, right? But if they get back to me, then I'm going to take them, you know? But I think in itself, especially with my show, with it being music and mental health, it's cool to see how many men want to come on and talk about their emotions and processing it. So for me, I'm like, yes, do I wish sometimes I'd have more women guests? Yes. But like at the same time, I can't really like, if those aren't working out in the scheduling or whatever it is, and someone's willing to come on, and if they are male, but like, it's really cool to look back at how many men have come on and wanted to talk about it. And that's true. Like the coolest thing. So I think it shows me like men want to talk about it. They just need a place.
That's true. And that is true. That's a good point as well, because we do need more men, like we were talking about, that are willing to talk about the hard things, because there's such a stigma with mental health, especially there. And there are certain like cultures that make it even harder to talk about it. And there definitely needs to be more men that are willing to talk about things like mental health, and especially the disorders that are more prevalent as well in men, that affect so many of them. And there are so many that end up, you know, making permanent decisions for a temporary problem due to mental health disorders. And it's so awful. It's so awful.
It is. And then you hear like growing up, like just how men are taught certain things. And that's why like I love when I have a guest on and I can tell they've opened up, or they'll say like, hey, I haven't really talked about this, but this, and it's like, it also makes me sad that it's like, oh man, like you haven't had the space to do that or felt comfortable to do that yet. And you're like my age, you know, like, I mean, and I think it's so important. So like that too is like what I'm most proud of, is like the men and like male component of it. Even though I'm like, in the beginning, I want to do this because, not that I was anti-men, but I was just like, I want to be better than the men with the microphones. Yeah. But then here I am like, oh, I'm so proud because like the men are coming on. And like also like shout out to any man that has come on my show, because like, again, that's tough being a girl too. Like, because some guys might not want to come on just a female show. But I've been so blessed with so many that are like willing to do that. And don't even view it as, oh, I'm going on this stereotherapy with like Lisa. It's like, oh, I'm just having a good conversation or interview. I'm not like, they don't even look at me as like oh, she's a woman. Like,
Yeah.
like, which I appreciate. It's really cool.
That's like my goal, is to have at the end of the episode, not them even realize that I'm a woman, just be like, this was a great conversation. This was fun. It was eventful. It was, insightful. That's like my dream, is to have somebody leave and think that it was just a good conversation.
That's the number one goal too, is like that. And also like when they say that it was good, and then also you can tell like the vibe, it makes you feel like, okay, all right, well, now I can do the next one. And because I was so nervous at first to be alone with a guy in a Zoom and or a group of guys, I was so scared. And it took me almost like a year into doing the podcast of like not being as nervous and just being like, one, they're coming on your show. They want to come on your show. This is your show. This is your turf. Like, this is your, so like, that's one thing. And also it's like, you shouldn't be as nervous because I try to tell myself, like, you're confident, you know your stuff, you know who you are. And it's helped. But the first year I was a wreck whenever I was a guy. I was like, oh my God, no. But now I don't even think about it.
That's funny. What do you do anything mental health related in your regular life or your job? Is that what made you get into kind of your podcast theme?
Honestly, no. Well, I should in my job, but I do early childhood education. So right now I'm a private nanny. Before I ran a daycare, so now I just do the nanny. And I love that I'm a private nanny because it's to my nephew, so it's not even work, but it is. So it's the best of both worlds now. But when I first moved here, I had to do I had to leave my job. I ran a daycare. And loved it. And I actually got into that when I left art school because I was like, I can't do music business management. I'm going to be in such debt. Oh my God, what am I doing? So then I found early childcare, which was the biggest plot twist ever.
Right? Very big pivot.
But I did that. And then honestly, what got me the mental health component was I suffer with social anxiety. I suffer with ADHD. I just got diagnosed. So I have ADHD. And learning that so many things growing up and the mental health toll that it took. And even as I'm now getting older, we see some things that might be OCD traits as well. And they're okay. So I think, because that's one thing, I'm sure and other people do, sometimes if you have one, there's probably more lingering, you get in a little mix. So it's one of those things of growing up and then realizing one of my first bad relationships of okay, something's wrong, your mental health, this is just not good. And taking that charge and then looking back as a teenager, it was all always there. It was just always brushed off. Back in the day, people would brush all that stuff off with mental health. And I would use music. I would use music to cope. I was when my parents divorced as a teenager, and it was oh my gosh, what is this song? I Stay Together for the Kids. And they divorced, and I was using my headphones. I was coping with music before I even knew I was coping with it. I would sit in my room when they were arguing and put it on and just color or do whatever I was doing. And when I was doing the podcast the first time, the one plus with my very first co-host was we did an episode where it was mental health or whatever. I forget what exactly it was, but it was the connection of music and mental health. And I was we could really help people and we could really make something interesting here because we're not the only ones that music does this for. There are so many people, whether you create it, you listen to it. And then from there, not rebranded, but shifted where it's okay, instead of just a show interviewing bands, let's take it a step further and go deeper about how for some musicians, how does songwriting offer these emotions? Or if you're a music fan, how has music helped you? How has music gotten you through a difficult time? And that was the shift, was just my own mental health and experience of man, this sucks sometimes. And sometimes I really dislike myself sometimes. And it's really difficult to get through. But then when I hear how many other people, when they come on, experience the same things, it's wow, all right, we're all not a limb. The first year of my podcast, and even sometimes now because of the anxiety, I flush. I get flushed skin. So I will wear green makeup because to hide the redness, because it just is like, it happens. It's still there. I work on my mental health, but like I tell everybody like that comes on, I still struggle. Like just because I have a show that deals with music and mental health, I struggle all the time. Like I struggled today even. Like it just is life. It just, you go through it. There's times where I'll post a reel, and that's where like social media and this podcast can get toxic. I'll post a reel I'm proud of, and I'm like, yeah, okay. And the likes or whatever it is, and I'm just like, people hate me. I was like, why do people hate me so much on here? Why are like why do everyone hate? And then nobody hates me. Nobody hates me. It just is like whatever. Like they don't have to like my stuff. But it was just like it was becoming so toxic for a while. But now it's better. But like in the beginning, it was like measuring myself and social media and the mental health tool. So it was like it's so tough.
It really is. I mean, I haven't even really posted hardly anything, mostly because it's like I know what I want to say, but as soon as I start to go to record, I forget everything. Everything. It's gone. Like, and I've tried using scripts, and I'm very like hard on myself. Like that's why I pay an editor to edit my podcasts, because I could not. I would literally pick apart every single thing about myself if I spent that much time looking at myself. So I know that for my own mental health in general, not even just to be able to continue the show, but for my mental health to be able to be in my skin every day, I cannot do that. I can't.
No, because you're right. That's a real thing we all do. Maybe we don't admit, but like when you said that, I was like, yeah. Every time I edit a video or I edit like audio, I'm like, why the hell did you do that? Why did you say that? Why did you look like that? Even if you're like just listening to someone, I'm like, oh wow, you look really serious there. You don't mean to look serious. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly me. Like I can't even watch. I'll try sometimes to make like clips of the videos. I can't do it because if I watch myself, if I start looking at myself too much, I will just not even be able to pay attention to what I'm talking about. Even if it's a good clip and I know that was a good part of the conversation, I can't. So now I'm having him, my editor is going to start making reels and TikTok videos for me too, because I'm going to try and start. I just had a meeting with, I used to have like a manager kind of person that I worked with, Meg McCabe from Full and Thriving Audio or Podcasting. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, so I worked with her and she helped me a lot. We did a little planning meeting today where we talked about like things that I can do for my podcast that'll be relevant and can help kind of like bring people to it organically without me sitting there just posting reels and videos from my podcast. Because
the number one thing I can say to you is because I was that same way. For the first part of my show, it was audio only for that reason. It was like I don't want to see video. I don't want to do this. But then like shout out to Gibby again, because he showed me how and taught me, sat with me on Zoom to teach me video, because it's like my podcast needs video if it's going to get anywhere, right?
That's true.
I got over that hump. I did the video, and it was just one of those things of like, okay, well, these clips are okay, but what can I do to bring in myself and my community? So like when I started talking about like the records I do, or 5 songs I'm listening to. I
love those videos.
Like, I was just like, what can I do? Because I don't want to be like, some people do it so well, right? Creators, what they do. But for me, I'm like, that's not me. I don't want to pretend to be this creator or that creator. Yeah. Okay, what can I do? And I find those videos that I'll do 5 songs or talk about a band or whatever, they pull in people. And it's also something I love to talk about. So it's like, okay, even if someone hated what I said or wanted to pick apart what I looked like, which they have before, like I'm like, it just happens. And it's like, okay, I don't care because I'm talking about this really cool thing that I love so much. I really don't care what you say. Like I had some guy, I forget what he said the other day. Like it was just random and like no profile picture. And I was just like, dude, I knew it too, because that day I was like, no makeup, no nothing. I just was not feeling it. But I was like, I need a video for tomorrow. Let me post video. Yeah. And I do it. And the minute I knew, it was like, I knew because I was wearing no makeup.
Oh my God.
This was going to happen. Like I just knew it. And it does. And that's another thing about like being a woman, right? Like we have to worry about that because they're not going to dog on a guy for looking like he just woke up from a nap or whatever. Yeah. And hops on. us women, we have to always be like ready and presenting and like no matter what. And if we're not, like I said, like I got picked apart for like some stupid thing. Awful. I was just like, whatever, dude. I don't care.
Always by men, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
I'm a certified man hater though. Like I won't even lie.
Hey, you know what? Even I say that sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, like my fiance, he's the safe one,
the special one.
He's and I'm like, you should know you're special because of how I feel about this. So like, you know what? You know you're special.
All of my best friends are straight, but I would say I have 3 that are like really close. One of them I've known. She's actually been on the show. Her name is Molly. I've known her my entire life, and then I've got 2 more that I've met throughout the years. Funny enough, they're both named Sarah. And they're both Tauruses. Wow. But they are both married to men that are amazing. And they're so funny because Sarah especially, so I have to call them Washington Sarah and Texas Sarah when I'm talking about them, like to my wife or something, because when you're just saying the name, their names are spelled differently, but if you're just talking about them, you can't tell. So Washington Sarah, her husband's name is Dean. And he's amazing. I've been friends with her for going on 10 years now. And we're planning a trip to Italy next year. And so I was talking about it with my wife, and we were talking about how, like traveling with people that you've known and how that can go. And I was like, oh, I've known Dean forever. Like he's chill. He's a safe one. And it's so nice having friends that have men in their life, though, that I am willing to do stuff like that with, because there are very few men that I would be willing to. The other Sarah, her husband as well, his name is Austin. He's amazing. Love him. Yeah, it's nice having friends that have men that are men haters, but have amazing men in their life.
Mm-hmm. I always feel like that's my friend Justine. Yeah, she's the same way, and like has her wonderful husband that like we always joke. We're the 2 biggest like she's like, oh, I'm the certified man hater, like on the internet all the time, but like, oh, not him, not my husband. My husband's the best. So,
he's the exception.
Yes,
the only exception, if you will.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I would like to really talk about some of your guests that you've had that are the more well-known. We talked a little bit before the show about Anthony Green from Circa Survive. And he's been in other projects too. For some reason, I only know him from Circa Survive.
So many. Like, I mean, Seosin, Sound of Animals Fighting.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Seosin. Oh, my God.
And then he does beautiful solo stuff. So, like, if anyone isn't a fan of Circa, his solo stuff is, like, I would say, even better. I love it. Like, I feel bad. Like, he has really great solo stuff. And then he's also in Ellis Dunes, which is that super group with, like, the My Chem, Thursday members, and Coheed.
So like I forgot about that.
So he's in like so many, and then he's like in another like psychedelic band with like members of Taking Back Sunday. So he's like does everything.
Hell yeah. Okay. That was so awesome that you were able to have him on. I saw it was it your 100th episode?
Yeah. That's really cool.
Iconic.
Just how that all happened too. It was just like, wow, okay, this is somehow meant to be in the universe. That like
100%.
This is the one, the 100th
that was
episode.
Like meant to be for sure. Mm-hmm. And then you said you had was it Ned from Title Fight?
Yeah.
Ugh. That like I would not know how to speak. I would forget how to speak. That
was life affirming. That was another life affirming. There was a couple of them, and that was one because I didn't know. You always know too when you pitch or you talk to people. You never know if it's really going to happen. Like, yes, people say yes, and that's not even like I'm not dogging on anyone or like. But like things fall through. Maybe sometimes agencies decide, hey, we're not going this route anymore. It's okay. Like it's life, whatever. But so for him, I was just like, okay, somehow this is not going to happen. And like all up to it, it was going to happen. It was just in my head, like, oh, this isn't happening. It's 6:00. It's not happening. And then once it did, like, it was just like one of those moments where there was like a moment when he was like talking, I had to be like, oh my God, that's Ned. Like, that's Ned. And and then also be like, don't forget your questions. Don't forget what you want to talk about. Because there was a moment that I definitely blanked. But going into that one, like listening to every, like, because like whenever I get someone, I listen to like every interview, I do whatever I can to get to know them.
Yeah.
I'm like, what can I find? What can I use from this interview that like they didn't expand on? What did I like? What can I like? And I remember like everything he's done. I'm like listening. I'm like, okay, all right, got this. And I basically was like an hour before, like tossed what I had and was like, okay, don't do that. You need to focus on who he is as a person. Like, don't focus on who title fight. Don't focus on even glitter.
Dude, that's
don't
really
focus
hard.
on like, because a lot of people focus on title fight, which as they should. That's who, you know.
So hard not to.
It was like, okay, I think I can do something different. And I was just like, let's ask questions that like bring out who Ned is. Who's Ned Russin? And to this day, like the amount of people that have said they're like, Lisa, that was definitely one of your best ones. And they're like, I like that we got to know him as a person versus who he is in title fight. And I think that's always the biggest compliment I get. And it comes from the insane like research that I do. I'm like Charlie Day with the whiteboard, like sitting there and like, oh my God, all right. Like, and because when you get those guests, it's like, wow, like they're taking time. They're not getting paid. They're sitting with me. They're probably working a 9 to 5 or like whatever, touring and then coming on here. So let's make it. So that was a wild one. Another one I had too at the start of the year, which was a crazy story, was Ian of Military Gun. And that happened, honestly, like last October when the record came out. I was like, that's my goal. I want Ian on my podcast. And then randomly on New Year's Eve, I tagged in a story, which I never do. I never like to tag, which people tell me you should, but I always feel weird doing that. So I'm like, but so I sat there and tagged, and I said, my goal for 2026 is to get Ian Shelton of Military Gun on my podcast. I tagged him. Okay. And he replied and was like,
oh my God,
let's do it. And of course I replied back like, oh my God, this made my day. Like such a fangirl. Right. And I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't know. I didn't know. And we did it the next day because he was like, I'm free. Let's do this.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, okay. I was not worried of the lack of time to prepare because I've always like for those ones I want to get, I'm always secretly like preparing of like, okay, what if I get them? I'm like, what if I get them? So let's like start preparing now. And it's like, so I was ready. I was like, I'm ready to go. Okay, next day. And when I got in the Zoom with him, he expressed the reason he said yes was because he saw my TikToks and I would make TikToks about their record and how much I loved it and related to it. And he was like, the reason I said yes is because I appreciated how much you spoke on the record and that really helps out our band. And it also just affirmed for me that like being a fan and a fangirl there's an advantage because had I not made those TikToks and I just tagged him, I don't think I would have got it. I think that the fact that he saw that like I spoke on the record, I got the record, and he was really great. Like he was super busy and right before tour and gave me like 40 minutes. So I was like, right before I was like, how much time do we have? And he was like, all right, how's 45 minutes? I'm like, cool, we can do that. But that was definitely like a crazy moment. but again, it goes to show like being a fan, being yourself will always get you those opportunities. And every no I've ever gotten, which they do happen, but every no I've ever gotten, I'm just like, think of all these yeses you've got. Like, look at what you've got in this, like, these cool, like these people that like see you and see you for who you are. That's what matters. You're always going to have no's. If I get a no, I just move on to the next. I'm like, okay. Like, or if I get no response, I'm like, okay. And like sometimes like if you do a podcast or if anyone wants to start one, like sometimes like bands just aren't doing like any kind of press. And like, so it's not even like a thing against you. It's just, they're not doing it or they're only doing it with certain people. So that happens too. But always shoot your shot. Try. There's so many things. Like I just got one the other day because I just literally emailed, pitched my show, and they're like, all right, cool. And does that work all the time? No, it doesn't.
That's
There's
true.
many no's I get that, and there's so many times where and that's when mental health, I get so defeated, like, oh, you suck. Why do you suck? And then you see them go on another podcast and you're like,
ugh, yeah, jab.
But it's like, it's just how things are. And I had to learn that. So that's probably like the most valuable thing I've learned with the bigger guests, and then trying to get the bigger guests too, of like, sometimes it's going to be no, but like try. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You get a no or a non-reply. Like,
that's true.
Just email. That's how I got Ned. I just emailed.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I emailed him and I pitched my show. I explained what my show was, what I was about, who I've had on. And I think that's also maybe what he was like, okay, well, they've had Anthony Green on. They've had,
Yeah, Anthony is literally iconic.
Right. So I think that helped. But I think too, like, yeah, if anyone wants to start a podcast or interview bands, just present yourself in a respectful way, professional way, and be confident. Like, just own it and be like, this is who I am, my show, and put like your best, like whatever words you can put on there to make you look really great. It sometimes will help you get in the door.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being on my show today, Lisa. This has been amazing. God. Like, it's been so insightful.
Oh, this has been so great. I'm like, I've loved this. Like, this is what I needed for like my Friday, like evening to chill and do
love
this.
That.
Like, yeah. And then like be on the other side of things too. Those like really, really great.
Yeah. I can't wait to be on your show too, to complete the collab.
Oh my God. Anytime. We'll have to, like, I know like September looks pretty good. So we'll have to talk and see for sure.
Yeah. I'll see. I have so much going on in September and October, but Fridays are usually good. Fridays are usually good for me. So we'll definitely talk some more.
Oh, for sure.
Thanks again, and see you next time.